Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Maureen and I'm so excited that you're here. If this is your first time, welcome. Join the family by subscribing, and also if you like what you hear, don't forget to press the thumbs up button and to share. To share with you my own story and how I got my finances in order. Well, our finances in order. Peter's not here today, so I can say whatever I want. So my journey pretty much started in 2016. Now, before that, I did budget. We talked about money. We talked about what we wanted to do. We had the dreams, the lofty dreams, and I can safely say, although I was budgeting before like 2016, I really wasn't following my own budget. Okay. And I would look at my budget after the fact. It was more like a reconciliation statement. At the end of the month, when you realize, oh, I don't have money, and then you're like, what happened to it? And then you go back. Yeah, that was pretty much me. Okay. So as a result, I was constantly stressed about money because towards the end of the month, that quarter two month end, yeah, when you start to look at your bank account and you're like, ooh, you know, are we going to make it to the end of the month? When the money ends before the month. Yeah, been there. And it's very stressful. All right. So in 2016, we had my daughter. Like, this was my second biological child. Right. Well, beginning of that year, right, I got a new car. Okay. Now, me and my husband are not car people. We had the same car, like, for a Toyota Camry for, I don't know, 7 years prior, 8 years prior to that, and we were fine. When we had my son, we had one car before that for the longest time, for like 4 or 5 years. And then when I had my son, like, okay, I couldn't get away with not driving anymore. So I had to get a car. So I got a small car, a Ford Focus, which I loved, right? And I was happy. So we had two cars. We had two reasonable cars. So we paid off our cars. We were okay. I thought we were in good financial shape because our cars were paid off, right? And then we had moved to a house in 2013. So we had that hanging over our heads. We had a mortgage. Okay. We were pretty normal, like, in terms of like what we had, our debts, we were normal. Okay, we're not living frivolously, we were normal. And then come 2016, before, like, beginning of the year, my husband, we decided, okay, you know what, this Camry, we've had it for way too long. It's time for it to go. It was starting to have issues, so we're like, okay, it's time, we need to upgrade. So my husband was like, okay, if you're going to upgrade, I'm going to get your car, right? And then decide what car you want. Okay, so I was like, okay, if I'm going to get a car now, I want an SUV. I've got my son, we need at least one bigger car. So we got me an SUV, a nice car. Okay, and we were okay. Now, February, find out, well, this pretty much happened in like January 2016. February, like a month later, we found out we're having my daughter. We're excited, obviously, and she's born in September. And then we decide, okay, in December, we are going to visit my sister, who stays in a different state. Now, we've got two kids, and with a baby comes a lot of equipment. So we were going to drive down and realize quickly that my car was not going to work. Well, it would have worked if it really tried, but we're like, okay, we're not doing that. Okay, so what did we do? We decided to get a bigger car. All right, so my, I mean, this was pretty rushed. It was very unlike us. Like normally we sit down and discuss through things. I was in my feelings, he was in his feelings. No, never make decisions when you're both in an emotional space. Okay, don't do it. Okay, they're never good decisions. So we're both in our emotions, and one day we just decided, go get a new car. We're like, okay, we need a big car, you need an 8-seater, and you need space for luggage. So he went and got a new car. Now, this is this is a debt. Okay, this is not like going to a car dealership and paying cash. We decided, well, we can afford the payments, so let's get the car. We got the car. We were excited. I was happy with the car until the first payment. Now, my husband was okay with it. We could afford the payment, but me seeing those numbers scared me. Like, I think my blood pressure just went high. I was like, what in the world have we done? The car is great. There was definitely utility for it, but it was not really necessary. And then I had my new car and we still had the mortgage. I was stressed. Now, not because we couldn't afford it, we could. I just felt like there's better use for this money that's going to pay like for these cars. So in February, just like now 2017, I started to Google financial peace, financial freedom. That's exactly what I put in, like financial freedom. And lo and behold, the first thing that came up was Dave Ramsey. Now, if you've never heard of Dave Ramsey, Google him. Okay, he's like a financial guru in the US. Now, he's this guy. So, without even having a conversation with my husband about this, because I don't even think he knew the extent of my stress, I went and I ordered that package. So it came with like it's a course. It came with the DVDs and the workbook and all these things. Right. So once I got it, well, before I even got the package, the course, before it was even delivered, I started to listen to his radio channel, and I was intrigued. I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I want. I want financial peace. I want financial freedom. I want to be able to do the things I want when I want them without having to worry about any payments in the world. So when the course came, I started to watch it by myself initially because I was like, okay, I don't know what my husband is going to think. He's probably thinking, this woman has gone off the rails. She's joined a cult. Right? But then I was like, okay, if this thing will only work if we're both in it. So I had a conversation with him, uh, and I was pumped at this point, right? I was like, we are getting out of debt. We are making money moves. Okay. So I sat him down, had a conversation about him, talked to him about Dave Ramsey, and he was like, okay, sounds interesting. I made him watch the DVDs with me. First lesson, he was like, By the second lesson, he was hooked. Okay. Like he was hooked. So we decided to go on this journey. First, it was like, okay, you can Google Dave Ramsey, but he has these 7 baby steps. All right. And the first step is to at least have $1,000 in savings. Okay, which was no issue. We had that. And then like list all your debts from smallest to largest. That's baby step 2. And then pay them off in that way. Now, we didn't really have, like, besides, like, we did our 2 cars, that was pretty much all the debt we had. But they were huge. Okay, I remember writing it down and seeing, like, okay, 88,000. guys, $88,000. I was like, yes, yeah. I was like, yeah. Anyway, moving right along. So that was pretty much our date, right? The two cars, but it was huge. Okay. So I went into game plan mode. I like literally wrote down like how I was going to pay off our cars. I gave myself, like I said, every extra money that was coming in this household was going to pay off the cars. Okay. Whatever it was, we were going to pay minimum. These cars were going to be paid off in a year. Now, I mean, it was possible for us because we do have a pretty good income, but we're just not paying attention to where the money was going. So every single extra cent went straight to the cars. Like, those nice bonus checks, those little perks that come along. It's nice to see the money in the account and you're thinking, oh, I want to go on vacation. The minute it hit my account, without even thinking, I paid. It went straight to the cars. Like, started with the one car, which was my car, right? Because I owed less on that. That was quickly paid off. A couple of, like, 2, 3, 4 months, that was paid off, right? Because, you know, yeah. And it so happened that during that time, like, that's when my husband was, you know, leaving his last company. So that we had a lot of severance, like, checks coming in. So that, like, God was really faithful in that way. So as soon as that, any check came, any extra money, straight to the cars. And by the end of at the end of the year, both cars were paid off. And I could, like, there was a sense of relief. Like, whew, okay, that's done. Next was the mortgage. Now, that one was a little intimidating for me because it's a mortgage. It's big, right? That meant we had to have our head down, like our heads down for a very long time. So I did the spreadsheets. I we decided, okay, um, mortgage would be paid off by 2021. Okay, we're giving ourselves at least, it was what, 3 years, right, to pay off our mortgage. And we're like, okay, game on. Any extra monies we are going to put towards our mortgage. Now, I can tell you this: if you are like me, you get addicted to challenges. Now, this was a challenge for me because, I mean, I was the one in charge of the budget, okay, and I wanted to see that mortgage gone. That was my priority. So I hit the ground running, pretty much. Yeah. Now, with the baby steps, I was talking about the baby steps. Uh, the mortgage falls under baby step 6, right? So baby step 2 is basically all your debt except your mortgage. So that was done. Baby step 3 is your 3 to 6 month emergency fund, right? Based on your expenses. That was okay. I think at some level we always had an emergency fund, right? So that was not really an issue. And then baby step 4 is paying for like investing for retirement. Okay, we're a little thin there, but I started to pay attention to that. Okay, and making sure that the money was going into the right accounts. Like before, you'd put stuff in retirement, but not necessarily know where exactly it was being put. Like you just gave the money to somebody, and then yeah, that was it. But now it was like, okay, just knowing where the money was going to, investing it by myself. And baby step 6 was paying off the mortgage, and we'd do those like 4, 5, and 6 concurrently. So baby step 6, like paying off the mortgage. Okay, that's what I was talking about. So I did that. Every extra money went to pay off the mortgage. every extra dollar. Like, I was like, this mortgage is going. And the funny thing is, once you start to see the balance go down faster and faster, it is so addictive. Like, it becomes this huge challenge of how much money can I put in this month, right? At times more than once a month, because it was like every extra money was going to the mortgage. And by, you know, 2020, we had mortgage paid off, beginning of 2020. And I can assure you that was the best thing we've ever done. Like, just the freedom to make decisions without anything hanging over your head, knowing that every single cent that's coming in is yours and you can do with it whatever you please. There is no greater freedom than that. Okay. So that was how I got started. Now, moving on, and the other thing, right? You need to know why you're doing it. It's one thing to just write down your debts and decide you want to pay off things or you want to save money, but you have to decide why you're doing it, because if you do not have a strong why, you're going to get derailed along the way, because things come up, things happen, life happens, right? So I wanted to go on vacation, good vacations. Okay, I wanted to buy that. Well, I'm not a clothes person, so I'm pretty low maintenance in that area. But I wanted to buy those sofas. I wanted to buy the deco. I like nice things. Like everybody else, I like nice things. But knowing why I was doing it kept me focused, right? Kept me in line, because I wanted to get to the finish line and nothing could stop me. Okay? And one of my reasons for doing it was I have a passion for helping like kids, right? Like, education is my thing, right? So I'd always had this passion, and I would always say to God, like, God, why would you give me this passion, and why would you make me want to do all these things and not financially provide for me? I'm sure God was like laughing in heaven, saying, child, I've given you all the tools that you need. It's just you who's not paying attention. So once I started paying attention, right? And one of the things that I realized when I started to clean up my budget was, now we had like antivirus for computers and stuff from the same company. We were paying this company for 4 subscriptions on the same devices. Like 4 times a year, we were paying this company. Right? And I remember seeing that and being like shocked, like, oh my goodness, you thought you were paying attention? You were clearly not paying attention, because how do you have 4 subscriptions for the same things? Okay. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Like, we realized we had so many gaps, right, in our budget. Our money was just going in so many different directions, and having to plug those gaps, it's like you get a raise. You literally feel like you got a raise without doing anything, because you've started to pay attention. And that's what happened. Once I started to pay attention, I realized I actually had more money every month than I thought I had, and I could do more than I thought I could. Now, once everything was paid off, guess what? Game on. I could do the things that I actually wanted. Like, I've got 7 adopted kids, not legally, but they're like my adopted kids, right? And I don't stress about paying. They're all in varsity now. I don't stress about paying for their fees, whatever. I have to plan for it every single month. I have to put money away every single month. but it's not a stress. And I say, oh God, you know, the money was always there. It was just it was just going away because I was not paying attention. So if you're having those conversations with God, um, maybe like take a step back, yeah, and see what are you actually doing. Are you being a good steward first and foremost, right? Have have you done all that you can before we start complaining and asking God to give us more? Because one thing I realized is no matter how much more you have, if you cannot handle the little, you're not going to be able to handle the more. So start with the little. Okay. Now, okay, talking about a budget. Okay. Most people do not like to hear the word budget. Yeah, it's like it sounds very restrictive to a lot of people. But I've actually found that having a budget gives me so much freedom, right? I know exactly what I can spend. And so if I've got that money in my budget, I don't have to worry about it. It's less stress for me. Okay, so have a budget. And a budget is not, don't just copy someone else's budget. Okay, it's very personal. There are things that you prioritize in your life that other people don't prioritize. And don't lie to yourself and say, oh, if you like to get your hair done, don't say, oh, I'm not going to get my hair done for the next 6 months. And then don't include it in your budget. Because guess what? You're going to get your hair done every single month. And that's just something that you wouldn't have budgeted, and it's going to throw things off. And then you're going to give up and say, oh, budgeting doesn't work. No, it works, right? You're just not doing it right. All right, so the first things for me in my budget now is giving. All right, that's the first thing on my budget. All right, first thing I give. Okay, and then the next thing is I give myself. Okay, that means I save. So first I give to others, then I give to myself. Those are the first two things on my budget. Okay. Once I've given to myself, then whatever is left goes to everything else. Okay. And that's very important because before I would try to save what was left, I would try to give what was left. And that did not work. It didn't work. Okay. Because I can assure you there was nothing ever left. Money does not like hang around for you to save it. Okay. It doesn't work like that. It flows out. There's always something, there's always someone who wants your money. I mean, let's be honest. If you have the money, you walk into a store, you're going to spend it. Period. Okay. And at the end of the month, you're like, oh, I wanted to save, but what happened? You spent the money. So I've made it a habit now to give first. Okay. And that looks different for everybody. I tithe. Okay. So that's the first thing on my budget. Okay. And the second thing is savings. Now, with savings, I've got many different, like, sinking funds. Okay. I've got the fees that I was talking about earlier. I've got a fees fund. I put money in there every month. I've got college funds, which is different. Okay. Because my fees fund is basically a savings account. Okay. And then my college fund, you know, that's with a different company. That's like a 529. Okay. So I put money there for my two biological kids who are still pretty young. Okay. So I'm saving for their college. And then I have a house fund because hopefully one day, I will get my dream house. So yeah, I've got a house fund. And then I've got maintenance funds, things break. Don't be shocked when things break. You need to save for that. Okay. I've got what I call my escrow fund. That's for paying my like property taxes, like real estate taxes, insurance. I put money away in that account every month. Why? Because that happens every year. Okay, you have to pay your insurance, you have to pay your taxes. Okay, so don't get shocked when the bills come and act like, oh, you know, you know it was coming. Okay, so I mean, there are a lot of like sinking funds you can have. There are people, if you want a new car, you start saving for it. If, like vacation, like if I've got a travel fund, I put money in there. You know, I mean, the only way you can have all these funds if actually have a plan. Okay, you have to decide, you and your spouse or you by yourself have to decide what you want to do. You have to have a plan for your life. Whether it's like I always at the beginning of the year, I have my yearly plan, right? The things I want to accomplish that particular year, the things I want to do, the experiences I want to have, and how they're going to be financed. That's at the top of the year. Okay, obviously things come up. That's why you have money saved. Okay, and then having a longer term plan, like okay, long term, the next like 5+ years, what do I want to do? Do you want to buy a new house? You're saving for college, retirement, all those things, right? Plan for them. Okay, things are not just going to work out. Okay, money is just not going to all of a sudden accumulate and you have extra for those things. Okay, you actually have to plan and then start saving for it. Okay, let your money work for you. Okay, don't work for your money, let your money work for you. Okay, and I've realized that once you put your money in order, money is actually quite a good employee. Right, you are the employer. Now if you don't have your things in order, guess what? It's going to employ you and you're going to be working really hard for it. So reverse those tables, right? Let your money be your employee. Let it work hard for you. Let it work for you while you sleep. Invest it, you know. Let it work for you while you sleep. Okay? So that was pretty much my money journey. Um, right now, am I in my place where I'm like, oh, I've got everything I want? No, I don't think everyone ever gets to that place, right? I've got everything I need. Yes, you know. And am I stressed about money? No, that is one thing I can tell you I'm not stressed about. Now, do I get stressed about wanting extras? I can't say I get stressed, but I do want extra stuff, right? And I do think about, okay, how am I going to get the money, right? But it's not something that's keeping me late at night, like keeping me up. Right? So yes, it does feel good to be in this position, but the only way you can do that is to actually have a plan. Okay, and you might not have a great income. You know what? That's okay. Start with what you have. Don't wait until your income increases. Okay, even if it just means putting away $5 every month. That's $5 you didn't have before. I know a lot of people think, I'm going to wait until I have lots of money, then I'm going to start saving. And no, 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 no. Start where you are. Okay, be a good steward with what you have right now. Literally, even if it's just $2 a month, put that $2 away. Okay, at the end of the year, it's $24 you did not have the year before. Okay, it might seem like, oh, that is not much. It adds up quickly. Okay, and when you have a plan and not just dreams, don't say, oh, I want to buy a house. Actually, that's just a dream. Everybody has dreams, right? Have concrete plans, have smart goals. Okay, say to yourself, okay, I want to buy a house in 3 years. Okay, that's going to cost me this amount of money. This is how much I need to put away, right, every month for me to have that amount of money or that down payment for that house. Okay, can I afford to do that? Okay, they have to be realistic goals. Okay, you can't say I want to put away 10,000 a month and you earn $1,000 a month. Okay, that's unrealistic. It's not gonna work. Okay, so your goals have to be realistic. You have to be totally honest with yourself. Okay, so I've been talking for a while now, and I still have plenty to say, but for now, I am going to stop here. And I hope this was helpful. I hope you picked up something, like one or two things that can help you in your journey. And if you have questions, don't be shy. Ask them in the comments, and I will get to you as quickly as I can. All right. So until next time, take care.